It's an investment now. You don't see a lot of people walking out of record stores with big arms of records anymore. It's too expensive.
I guess if you were collecting older music, then yeah, you can go to the used section and be like, yes, 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 yes. Like, spend $100 and walk away with a stack of, 30 or 40 records. Whereas like $100 is like two records or 3 records maybe, or yeah, maybe one.
Maybe one. That's what I started to find out the more I searched for this record. I was really hoping to find it on my travels instead of making such an expensive purchase online on a used piece of vinyl, sight unseen. So the hunt continues. Record collecting is on the rise, and in 2022, vinyl sales surpassed CD sales for the first time in 35 years. And like many, my collecting has just begun. Come along my journey as I talk with other vinyl collectors, local record store owners, as well as bands about what makes them spin. On this episode, we'll talk with our collectors about all their inherited vinyl. We'll figure out what's the best way to organize these collections. I'll take you by Windsor's newest record shop, and we'll stop in and talk with Pony, Windsor's cutest band. I'm Six Langman, and this is Spinning Stories.
I had the opportunity to absorb my now ex-stepdad's collection back in the day, but I was so angry with them at the time that I didn't accept it. And now I could kick myself because I probably have 3/4 of those albums on my shelf that I've actually purchased.
My brother-in-law's brother, so my brother-in-law, I don't know what that's called. He got rid of all his punk collection when I was 15, so it went into good hands. Like I got Stooges, I got MC5, I got Sex Pistols, I got all the early punk, I got that.
And in a small community, word of mouth, I'll tell some of my dad's friends or people I know from the Knights of Columbus or the local Legion. They start to hear that I'm involved in the records, and then a friend of theirs is getting rid of a box or cleaning their home out, moving, and they want to get rid of some. So I'm very lucky in that respect. You never know what you're going to find, and that's probably the funnest part.
Well, I do think about the records that are available for me to collect were, in someone's collection before. We were talking about the Motown, the Windsor, Detroit thing. It's like, I'm aware that it's only available for me because someone once had it and once loved it in this area. So there's certain things that come up all the time. And I find just the demographics of that very, very interesting.
So I got my first few records when I moved away from home. My mom had a tiny, tiny record collection.
Tiny but stacked.
Tiny but stacked, yeah. She has
hits.
Really good taste.
My mom's collection is mine now. So she just said, you can have them. You love them so much. They sit in my house now. Some of it I love, some of it not so much. It's a really, really eclectic variety. And yeah, that was my first real collection, basically, as a kid.
My mom, when I was young, she did yoga and taught me yoga. There was always Moody Blues on in the background. And I have those records. And all the Stones and the Zepp are the original ones from growing up.
I've got my mom's Zeppelin albums, and you were losing your mind when you went there last, because it's like a consignment shop. It's like
and trinkets and.
But we
just come across these
actually they're right here because I didn't organize them yet.
Few little albums, and I'm just like,
my mom goes, do you want this one? And I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'll take that Run DMC, right?
Yeah.
That's the face that I make.
Exactly.
It just takes me right back to Uncle Dave's place. He gifted me his records. So it probably not a lot at the time, like probably a couple hundred records. Those aren't records that I probably would have ran out to buy, but they're records that really make my collection as special as it is. And they just come out of nowhere. He finds out that I'm back into records, and why don't you come up and grab mine? They've been sitting there for 30 years. Grab them.
This is the same uncle that gifted your father.
Yes.
So you ended up,
yes.
Was this the hand-me-down of hand-me-downs?
This was the hand-me-down of hand-me-downs, and I hand-me-down some of my hand-me-downs. So, if you have a bunch of records and you don't necessarily use them all the time, spread the love.
The love for vinyl is definitely spreading, and we can see this in Windsor's newest record shop.
Rolling up with a new little shop here. See through. I hear somebody crying.
Hey, man. I saw what Paul had, but it's not like Paul from Dead Parrot showed me his books. There's such an outpouring when he left of like, oh man, the record store in our neighborhood's leaving. This really stinks. The outpouring was so great, he kind of said, well, someone really needs to open up a record store here because, you know, I'm doing well, and on top of that, there's a real need and there's a real hunger for vinyl. My name's Jason Hoffer. This is Going Through Vinyl Records, and I've been open for 4 months. Crazy 4 months. It's been fun. It's not all together yet, but it's coming together. I've always had this philosophy: if you're going to do something, do it properly. I care about music. I care about records, and I'm very fortunate that I get to do, in midlife, all of a sudden change, and you get to do what you would do if you won, you know, $100 million. I'm not a multimillionaire, but I got this opportunity. I don't want to blow it, and I also just genuinely care.
I really like the way that Jason's store is laid out, but when I asked him how he organized his collection at home, he gave me a pretty interesting answer.
I do time period and then alphabetical. And I also often combine all the genres. If you flip through my records, it would make sense.
The record collection's like a tattoo on your soul or something, right? It's like, it's uniquely yours.
It's like you got a whole like family and friends kind of like soup going on.
I always say to myself, yeah, I should get back to like having them organized. But I kind of like them a big kind of melange of stuff. Because then you can just be like, this.
I guess chaos a little bit. I also think of it in a way of like what would happen if all of these artists from these albums were to like get together and mingle a little bit, you know? So there's part of me that just feels like, yeah, you know, the Stylistics are hanging out with Odetta, and they're hanging out with Prince. It's kind of like a We Are the World sort of situation, sitting there all the time.
We go by feeling, and then where do you go by? Convenience. To put things away and put them, like when you take them, you never put them back. We take them out once a month and reorganize them.
It's not in alphabetical order, and I actually prefer it this way. I like that it's all mixed up.
It's so much fun.
It's almost like having like your playlist on shuffle. You can just grab whatever and just listen to it.
It's painful.
What?
Painful.
What is?
Trying to find something that I want becomes...
Yeah, but it's like almost mimicking the experience that you have at a record shop where you kind of flip through things.
Except they're in alphabetical order in a record shop. So it doesn't mimic it at all.
Kind of, maybe, in a weird way.
I have a section for Bob, you know, because it's such a popular name with me. You know, Bob Marley, Bob Dylan, Bob Seger.
Well, I organize it to actually find it. So I don't have to be cool in any way. I've got nothing to prove. It's just like high fidelity. Organize it based on the mood that I was in when I bought the record, right? Autobiographical. So basically, it's A to Z.
As much as our youngest would like our whole collection to be alphabetical, we tend to hover between alphabetical and organized chaos.
That's Maddie's.
I couldn't
domain.
not have it organized. It's organized by artists.
But the other day you were going through being like, why the heck did I put this here?
Yeah, artists where it's just a name, like a Paul Simon. I'm not sure if it's under P or S, but like a disorganized record shelf that's not for me.
No bueno.
That's not good.
My name's Sam.
I'm Maddie. We play in a band called Pony, and also Pretty Maddie. We just do everything together.
Yeah, we do everything together. We can't get enough of each other. Yeah, this was our first vinyl. Honestly, so good, still goes.
Yeah, so cute.
It's so cute.
And this is the second pressing that we just got in the mail a few days ago.
And Joe, our label guy, Take This to Heart, Joe, he actually picked this color variant, and I think it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is. I love it.
He's got a good eye.
It's very cute.
He knows what he's doing. It was such a painful experience to get there. It's not funny. It was painful, and like I really questioned like my abilities as a songwriter, as a front person, as a musician the entire time, and then to just have this piece of physical music that we made together and that it took us so long to get, it felt like really, I just felt very proud. It felt very surreal because we'd never really had anything like that before.
And it also felt validating in the sense that it's like maybe having a record gets you a little more press or gets you the booking agent, or like it just creates these roads for industry stuff that you might not have otherwise.
It's almost like a tier.
Yeah.
It's like you reach a certain level and you can like afford to make vinyl, or like you get signed to a label that will
Someone's
produce
willing to take the bet
vinyl.
on you. Yeah.
A lot of bands just starting out like can't do that, so that's why you always buy your friends' records.
Join me next time as I stop by Sunrise Records. I also get the chance to sit down and talk with the talented Tim Swadling to talk about his debut vinyl release. And we'll check back in with some vinyl collectors and talk about their listening rituals. All this and more on the next Spinning Stories.